In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact framework that I use to go from a struggling entrepreneur with no money to making consistent $5,000 or even $10,000 a month while working less and doing what I love. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't matter if you already have a business or if you're planning to start a business or if you just want to make some extra money online each month. The fundamental principles in this video will work for you as long as you follow them carefully. Now, when I first got into entrepreneurship and started my first online business, I was working incredibly hard. I was doing everything my mentors told me to do to make my business a success. I was putting in crazy hours, but the results just never really happened for me. I didn't sign any clients, I didn't sell anything, and I couldn't make any money from my business despite how hard I was trying to do everything right. This was also around the time that I started to seriously study manifestation and the law of assumption, and after hundreds of hours of meditating and visualizing and researching manifestation, something finally clicked. It was also at this point that I signed my first client for $2,000 a month, and shortly after my second and third client as well. It was at this point that I realized that success isn't just about strategy and hard work, it's also about identity. Of course, working hard and having a good strategy are fundamentals to any successful business, but as my story proves, it's not always enough. Reshaping your whole identity, your entire sense of self, is actually crucial if you want to manifest success from your business. Because you might be doing everything right and working very hard, but if subconsciously your identity doesn't align with someone who is successful, who signs clients on a daily basis, or who just makes a lot of money, you will block all this abundance from coming your way simply because your beliefs hold you back from becoming the successful person you are trying to be. So how do you reshape your identity and not only start believing but actually feeling like a successful person? Well, the first and perhaps most important step is to deconstruct your current limiting identity before we start shaping our new sense of self. This is done by eliminating all of the limiting beliefs that we currently hold before we build a new identity of success, wealth, and abundance on top of our identity. Now, there are many techniques that are specifically aimed at removing limiting beliefs, but the ones I personally used are EFT tapping or emotional freedom technique and deep meditation hypnosis. EFT tapping in particular is an amazing way to not only eliminate limiting beliefs holistically, but also to regulate your nervous system to prove to it that your new positive beliefs are safe to hold. If you're not sure what this means or how these techniques work exactly or how you can use them, don't worry, I am planning on releasing a video specifically on EFT tapping and hypnosis precisely because these are such powerful techniques that helped me completely remove some of the most stubborn limiting beliefs that I held for a very long time, actually since childhood. And the bonus tip I will share with you is actually this. Once you start to do some serious introspection or self-inquiry, and you start to uncover these limiting beliefs that you hold and seriously questioning them, oftentimes just this awareness alone is actually enough to almost get rid of them or to seriously start questioning these beliefs and start realizing that they're actually not that powerful and that they are not true at all. Once you become aware of a limiting belief, for example, I am just not someone who is lucky enough to be rich, start questioning this belief. Where did it come from? When did I first adopt this belief? And is this actually true? Do I have any proof at all to show me that this is true about myself? Once you do this, you will quickly realize that it's not true and it's just a limiting belief that you hold that you no longer need because it no longer serves your new identity. Now, I will also say that it is really important to be patient with yourself because some of these limiting beliefs can be quite stubborn, especially if you have been holding on to them since childhood. And it's really important to be patient with yourself when you are trying to eliminate these limiting beliefs. It is also extremely important to not judge yourself when you notice that you are slipping back into a negative belief or you're thinking negative thoughts that you used to think, because this will have the exact opposite effect of what you were trying to achieve. Instead of adopting a judgmental attitude towards yourself, adopt a loving attitude towards yourself. You can just think of it as your old self throwing one last temper tantrum before dying off completely. When you still catch yourself having a negative thought, just think of it as one last negative thought that you're holding because you are now changing into the identity of someone who thinks positively, and just be grateful that you are going through this change. This is actually the best and fastest way that I have found to eliminate any limiting belief. Okay, so now that you have a practice in place to eliminate limiting beliefs and negative blocks, it's actually time to step into the version of yourself who already is successful. Because this is where the true magic begins, and this is also where the law of assumption comes in. The law of assumption states, whatever you assume to be true becomes your reality. Not what you're thinking about, not what you're forcing, not what you're hoping to be true or dreaming about, but what you actually assume to be true deep within your subconscious, that's what becomes your reality. So instead of asking something like, how do I get to $10,000 months in my business? The better question is actually, what would the version of me who already earns $10,000 months in my business assume to be true about themselves to get to this point? Would that version of yourself stress over every DM or worry about your offer or worry if you're good enough? No, they would show up differently. They would have complete confidence in their ability to deliver services or sell or actually add value to your customers or clients. That version of yourself also wouldn't be so obsessed with chasing money simply because they already have so much of it. So from today onwards, start living in the assumption that you already are this person. Now, this doesn't mean that you simply fake it. It actually means that you align with it very intentionally on a very deep and fundamental level. Because remember, whatever you assume to be true is actually true for you. Okay, now here's how you lock in that new identity. Every single day from now onwards, set a 10-minute timer once in the morning and once at night right before going to sleep. And during this time, visualize yourself already being the person who you want to be, using the law of assumption to its fullest. Visualize yourself living in your desired reality, but don't just see it in your mind, also feel it with emotion. See the Stripe notification coming in and the joy associated with receiving a big payment from a client or customer. Feel the peace of checking your bank account and seeing a $10,000 payment coming in. Or feel the excitement of simply helping a dream client of yours. Or a fun one I like to do is imagine that you are listening to a voice message of a client who is super happy about the results you achieved together and who is just thanking you for the transformation that you realized. Most important of all with this practice is to actually add gratitude to your visualization practice. Your subconscious mind speaks in emotions, not in logic. So if you want to rewire your internal belief system quickly, emotional visualization is the fastest way to do so. Personally, I like to do this right after waking up and right before I go to bed because then the brain is in a more suggestible state, the theta brainwave state. But you can do this at any point during the day when you have some time. And here's the best part. If you stay consistent with these practices that I've told you about, your identity will start to shift faster and faster because it will build on top of each other and give you really amazing returns. Opportunities, ideas, and people will show up in your life at precisely the right moment for you to capitalize on them. Not because of luck, but because you actually changed the inner blueprint of your own very identity. Now, let's be clear, manifestation is not just about visualizing and sitting on a rock and waiting for PayPal to ping. The practices that I just told you about are super powerful, but just remember that they also need to be matched with intentional action and work. This means making offers in your business from a place of service, not scarcity. And this also means just doing business with the genuine intent of helping people and adding value to people and society, and just being a conscious business that helps others, instead of just trying to make as much money as possible, no matter the cost to others. And of course, the most important thing of all is showing up as the version of yourself who already has what they want, because that's what you are, and that's what you're gonna be living from now on. You don't have to hustle your way to success. You don't have to be lucky or just wait for luck to strike. You can actually intentionally change your current identity to one that is actually successful, and from there shift your perspective on success and just be the person who is successful right this very moment. Okay, so comment below, what is your income goal for this month, and also what business do you have or are you planning to start to achieve this income goal? I would love to hear about it. I am personally dedicated to making weekly videos about manifestation, changing your identity, and manifesting business success. So if you want more of this, make sure to subscribe and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.